out to Amazon, who are providing over 50 apprentice mentors this year. So very, very pleased to have you. Okay, excellent. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is the logistics of how the mentoring is going to work. And so for that, I'm just going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation for you. Here we go. Okay, lovely. Okay, so three things. We're going to talk about logistics. We're going to talk about safeguarding. And we're going to talk about how to be an effective mentor. Miss, can we start recording the session? It's lovely. And this is recording, so we'll send you out this whole presentation and a transcript. So you've got that information. So how's it going to work? So thank you so much for applying. In your application, you have already provided some information and a short bio about who you are, what journey you're on, either what you're studying at uni or what you're doing your apprenticeship in. So we will collate all of that into a document, and then we share that with our young people. And we ask them to select mentors that they would like to work with. So the power of choice stays with the young people, because we want them to feel like they have some control over this process. And so they pick young people for a number of reasons. Either it could be that you are studying a course at uni or doing an apprenticeship that they want to do, or you're at a company or a university that you want to go to. But it also might be about your personal journey. So if you talk about, I want to do this because I went to a state school myself and I was the first in my family to go to university, et cetera, they might connect with you because of your journey and think, oh, that person gets me, I really want to work with them. So we're going to start sharing those bios with them soon. And so they're going to then nominate who they want to work with. And then we will do the selection process over the matching process over Christmas. And then by mid-January, we will email you the name, email address, and a bio for your mentee. So just like you did a bio, we're going to get them to do a bio and share with you, so you have some background and context about that young person before you start speaking with them. So once you have their bios, we're going to ask you to reach out to them and just introduce yourself, and then set up your first mentoring meeting. Now, you will be a lot more familiar with setting up Zoom calls than young people. So we ask that the mentors set up the Zoom calls, etc., and invite the mentees. So in essence, you will have 4 mentoring Zooms with your mentee once a month. So that will happen January, February, March, and April. So our program, the first phase of our program, ends in April. And across those 4 sessions, we will provide you with the booklet, which we're going to show you at the end of today's session, that kind of bullet points the things you should be talking about. Now, this is just a guide, a launch pad for you to use if it's helpful, but actually feel free to go to where the conversation takes you, of course, within professional boundaries, and we're going to talk about that later today. But let the conversation go where it might be most helpful. So if they're currently applying, they're working on their personal statement and you can help with that, of course, feel free to use that time for that, or a CV, or just trying to figure out which course or which apprenticeship they want to apply for. But we do provide you with a mentoring pack with quite detailed step-by-step things you can talk about if that is useful for you to use. If you're working with multiple mentees, thank you so much for offering to do that. That's really helpful. So you can do your mentoring in 2 ways. You can either meet with all your mentors together. And so imagine if you had 3 mentees that you've agreed to work with, you can just tell all 3 mentees the session will be on Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. We'll see you all there. And you can do it as a group, or you can do it individually with them, one-to-one, based on how much time you have to give and how you think it would work. So you have control over how you would structure that. It's up to you. If you have reached out to your mentee and you haven't heard back from them about confirming a meeting, please do flag it to our team at Future Leaders, and we'll give you the email address for that. It may be that the email address we sent you is incorrect, or they're not getting your email, so we can kind of help facilitate that. We hold mobile phone and other contact information for them. We see them on a bi-monthly basis as well, so we can pick up those touch points with them. In terms of the exact timings of your sessions, so they are to be determined by you based on your availability. Of course, please avoid the school days. So young people will be at school from 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m., but anything after 5 p.m. or anything on the weekends, so depending on your availability. So we set what we call week commencing. So for instance, the first session should happen week commencing the 23rd of Jan, then the 20th of Feb, then the 20th of March, etc. But which day that week it happens, it's up to you based on your availability that week. So it's for you to decide. You pick a time. Of course, try to involve your mentee in it if you can, but especially if you're working with multiple mentees, if they can't all make a session, so 2 out of 3 can make it, you're still okay to proceed with that, and that other mentee can catch up at another time or catch up independently. So whatever works for you. We're conscious that you have very busy lives, and so you need to make it work for you, and the mentee needs to fit in with that to make it work. Okay, lovely. Any questions about any of that before I move on to safeguarding? Lovely. Okay. So questions. So Miss, where are the questions from? Okay. Can you tell me the? Okay. So Lauren, let's have your question.
Hi, I just wanted to know how many mentees would there be overall? Do you know?
So we expect at least kind of 600 out of the 800 to apply to have a mentor. So they're not forced to apply. We offer them the opportunity. And it's if they would like a mentor, then they apply for it, and they have to do a video, a short video, almost like an application as to why they feel a mentor would benefit them, etc. So it's a really competitive process because we have about 200 mentors, and we will have about 600 mentees. So not every young person, unfortunately, will get a mentor because the supply is greater than the demand, or the demand is greater than the supply. So actually the kids that you're paired with have kind of won out of a competitive process because they really want a mentor. So that should be provide a really positive experience for you. But of course, they're young people, and sometimes they become distracted or they disengage. You know, it happens when we're working with young people. So that's why we set up systems where you can reach out to us and we can help. And actually, if we've reached out to them and they're not engaging, then just drop them from your workload and continue with the other mentees that you have.
Thank you.
No problem. And Malaika?
Oh, sorry, you can't see me, can you? Can you see me? Hear me?
I can definitely hear you, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to know how long one session would be in terms of an individual session.
Good question. So I would say between 30 to 60 minutes. And again, that's for you to decide. So based on how the conversation is going, its value, its pace, etc., and how many people are in that call. So if you're doing a call with 3 mentees together, that call might be longer, so it might be 60 minutes. But if you're doing a one-to-one, that might be 30, 40 minutes. Well, also depends on what you're discussing and where a natural end for that might be. And very happy for you to determine that. But what we would say is we wouldn't want it to go over an hour. So we want to protect your time as well. So maximum would be an hour. And Miss, we had some questions in the text as well. So let me pick those up. So in terms of, is there a platform we would prefer you use? Not necessarily. So if you're corporate, if you're working at Amazon, you have to use Teams. That's cool. If you are at uni and you want to use Zoom because you don't have Teams, that's cool. If you want to use Google Meets like we do, that's cool. So whatever works for you, whatever integrates automatically into your existing system, we want to keep it as easy as possible for you. Perfect. Excellent. Any other questions before we move on to safeguarding? Okay, lovely. So I am the head of safeguarding at my school. I've worked in safeguarding for 16 years. So I'm just going to give you a quick summary of kind of safeguarding things to be aware of, because when you're working with young people, and sorry, I should have said all the young people that you'll be working with will be in year 12, so they'll be 16 to 17 years old. When you're working with young people, sometimes as they start to build a relationship with you and they feel safe with you, they're going to want to talk, right? And so if they say something that's concerning or worrying, we want you to have the knowledge and the next steps as to how you should report that to make sure that young person is supported. But I should say it's highly unlikely that a child will say anything to you that requires you to trigger a safeguarding process. We only had one or two of these out of the hundreds of kids that were mentored last year. So it's highly unlikely, but we want you to be prepared for it should that be the case. So we'll start with what safeguarding is. So when we're talking about what safeguarding is, it's essentially about protecting young people, both from physical and mental harm. It's about ensuring that young people grow up in a safe environment. It's about taking action to enable all young people to have the best possible outcomes, and also to promote the welfare of children, for all of us to promote the welfare of children. So when we're talking about protecting children, it's about for you to refer a case to us, that's you protecting the child. And essentially, that's the only thing you have to do. Your whole role in this process is if you have a concern, you just drop us an email. That's it, you're done. And then it's over to us to work to protect that child. And us having this training is about how we're ensuring children grow up in a safe environment. So you know what to do if you're concerned about a child. And all of us doing this and referring things is about us taking actions to make sure that children have the best possible outcome. Now, just pop in the chat for me, what are some safeguarding concerns you think young people, 16 to 17, growing up in London, and we work predominantly in deprived areas of London, what kind of safeguarding concerns do you think 16, 17-year-olds are facing currently? If you pop that in the chat, I'll tell you if you're right. Gangs, absolutely. Yeah, county lines is a big thing right now. For young people, abuse, yeah, there's physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's sexual abuse, antisocial behavior, absolute bullying. Yep, social media and bullying, that's a real thing for young people. And mental health is a big thing as well, absolutely. So keep that going in the chat. We'll give you another 10 seconds. Yeah.
I can see the big thing, it's not there. I don't know where it is.
Keep writing it in the chat. We'll give you another 10 seconds.
Sorry, I touched it.
Right. Speaking of Amazon, I just had an Amazon delivery. So well done, Amazon. You're working late into the evening. Okay, good. Substance abuse. Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing abuse of all sorts and theft. So all of that is very true. And so these are some of the challenges that young people are facing. Let's look at some other ones. So we've talked about a lot of these. Peer-on-peer abuse is a big one, where someone might be in a relationship, but actually their boyfriend or girlfriend are making them do something that they're not comfortable with. A lot of young people are facing domestic violence, drug and alcohol abuse we had, and also radicalization. So young people holding extremist views, whether they're right wing or etc., and that becoming a concern for us as well. So if any of these things happen, what should you do? So please alert us as soon as possible via the email we'll share with you. And we may contact you for further information. So if we do, please engage. So you might drop us an email saying, oh, I have a concern that my mentee is being abused. So we might contact you and say, can we have a chat about why you think that? What did they say? What's the context? And then we'll use that information to make onward referrals to social care and other agencies that we work with. Now, in the rare circumstance that you find yourself in a situation where a mentee starts telling you about something that might be considered a safeguarding risk, so they might say, can I tell you something? And our typical appropriate response to that would be, you can tell me anything you'd like, but I may not be the right person to help you, so I may need to move this on. Okay, so you're being clear with them from the beginning that if they've said something that concerns you, you are duty, but you will need to report that on, and we'll tell them that as well. But if you are happy to receive that disclosure, we suggest that you do 4 things: listen, clarify, inform, and report. So the first is just to listen. So support the mentee in sharing what they wish to share, but do not pressure for more information. So just create a space where they can share what they'd like, but don't ask kind of follow-up questions, or don't ask leading questions that might further that. You may ask some open-ended questions, but don't ask the mentee to write anything down. So they might say, I'm scared in my relationship, and you might say, can you tell me a bit more about that? You might say, when you say scared, what do you mean? Just so when we contact you later, you've got a bit more context. But again, don't continue the conversation if that doesn't feel comfortable. Inform the mentee that you will need to report this, and please do not promise to keep anything a secret. You are not their friend. Your relationship with them is a professional one. You're working with them in a professional capacity. And so all professionals are duty bound to report any safeguarding concerns that might place a child at risk. So if they say, can I tell you something, but don't tell anyone, say, I'm sorry, I may not be the right person to help you, and I may need to refer that on. Okay, so please don't agree to keep anything a secret. We just want to protect you. And lastly, let us know as soon as possible and always within 24 hours at the email address contact@futureleaders.uk, and just say, hi guys, I had a call with my mentee yesterday. This is what they said. I'm a bit worried about them, and that's it. You're done. We'll pick it up. We'll do a welfare check with them, make sure they're okay, and let you know if there's anything else you need to know before continuing that mentoring. So as I say, you are a professional partner for them, not their friend. So we want to make sure that you're maintaining some professional boundaries. Now, some of you might be in your first year of uni or apprenticeship. So actually the age difference between these young people and you might only be 2 years or so. But actually being under 18 and over 18 are very different things. And we want to maintain, we want to make sure you maintain those professional boundaries. So all mentoring sessions should be on Zoom and not in person, and also avoid kind of FaceTime chats or WhatsApp video chats. Host them on a professional platform like Zoom or Teams or Chime if you're at Amazon or any of those networks. All communication should be via email. So there's no reason for your mentee to have your phone number or for you to have their phone number. You should communicate via email and not via phone or phone number. And please don't add your mentee to your social media accounts. And they might, it might be the first thing young people ask you. They even ask me, and I'm 41. Sir, what's your Insta? What's your TikTok? And the answer is, that those are my personal accounts. And that's not something that's appropriate to share as part of this process, but I'm happy to add you on my LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a professional networking site, and we're happy for them to connect with you on there, but not on the others. Now, if you attend Oxford, Cambridge, or Queen Mary, we will bring all our young people to visit to your university around April time. And so there will be an opportunity for you to meet your mentee in person. So remember, you're going to have a mentoring session January, February, March, April. And at the end of that, we're going to bring our students to those 3 universities as part of our wider work. And so you'll have if you're around that day, and you don't have to be, because it may be during your term break. If you're around, it'd be great if you came and saw your mentee if you would like to. If you attend another university and you'd like to host your mentee for a visit, that's a great idea. But just keep us updated on that. So if you've arranged a visit to have your mentee visit you at uni, then let us know about that so we can do any background work with parents and et cetera, okay? And we will share all this with the mentees as well so they know what the deal is. And so if you're from Oxford and Cambridge, once you have set the dates for your mentoring, please also share these with Hugh for Oxford and Gwyneth for Cambridge, and those email addresses are there for you. And also please copy them into your emails with mentees. And Hugh and Gwyneth, who are admission tutors at Oxford and Cambridge, may pop into some of your one-to-one mentorings. And this is really just about safeguarding and protecting you and making sure all of that is going well. Okay, that is it for safeguarding. I'm going to hand over to Ms. Shakur in a second, who's going to share her screen now. But before we move on to the next bit, which is about how to be an effective mentor, any questions about the safeguarding or anything else I've shared so far? So remember, in summary, if it doesn't feel right, just refer it to us via email. We'll make a judgment and keep you informed. Okay? Lovely, well done. Gwyneth, I know you're on the call with us as well. Gwyneth, anything you'd like to add there?
Just to kind of say hello to everybody, particularly our mentors from Cambridge. Thank you so much for volunteering for this. It's a great opportunity for young people, and we're really pleased that you're part of that. Do keep me in the loop, and I will try and drop into at least one of your mentoring sessions over the time. So if somebody gate crashes your mentoring session, that will be me. And I apologize if it feels a bit weird, and I won't stay long, but it's really just this is about looking after you as well, making sure that everything's okay on that score. And just to reiterate that if you've got any concerns, do get in contact with Future Leaders, but you can also get in touch with me if you feel that you can't get through or there's something urgent. I am also a point of contact, and then I will get in contact directly with Fahim and his team.
Thank you so much, Gwyneth.
Is that okay, Fahim?
That's perfect. And thank you so much for finding the time to support with this initiative. I'm sure you already have enough to do, but so we're really grateful that you and Cambridge would support this program in this way, and really excited about our visits in April. Thank you. Okay, well done, team. I'm now going to hand over to Ms. Shakur, who is going to take you through a short presentation on how to be effective mentors. Ms. Shakur?
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining today. I'm just going to talk you through on how to be an effective mentor. To start off with, it was just a quick definition of what a mentor is, and the definition that we really liked as a team was a mentor is someone who can see the talent and ability in you that you don't see in yourself and helps you bring it out. So one thing we're really cautious of is that we want this to be a beneficial opportunity, not only for yourselves, but also for our mentees. But the benefits for you as a mentor is that it can help you develop your leadership and communication skills. So right now, you guys are early on in your careers and you're going to be looking forward to moving up in a career ladder, looking into managerial roles and stuff like that. So you being a mentor will help you develop those skills and also help you gain new perspectives. And it will also give you the experience of how to manage subordinates. And what's most important to us is that it's a chance for you to be able to give back to the community and help build better futures and pathways. We just wanted a bit of feedback from yourselves. We're cautious of the fact that you have been listening to us for the past half an hour. But what are the skills of an effective mentor? If you could please drop some examples in the chat, that would be really helpful. So just a quick fire: active listening, interpersonal skills. It's really good. Attentive listening skills, direct communication, empathy is a really good one. Emotional intelligence, we've got empathy again. Open-minded, that's a really good one. Clear and specific information, connecting, understanding. You guys are doing amazing. I don't even know if you need my next slide. Encouraging, that's really good. Organizational skills, and that's one of the really important ones, especially when you're working with young people. Non-judgmental. Empowering, you sound like future leaders. I think I'll take, thank you so much for your feedback. I'll continue on our slides. So the majority of it you've already picked up, as you can see, but there's a few additional ones that I just want to touch base on. So for example, building trust, which ties in with Mr. Khan's bit of the PowerPoint, setting professional boundaries, which we've covered, providing corrective feedback. Don't worry about coming across mean or rude, but giving students some corrective feedback and some helpful feedback will be really good. But some skills that we want you to focus on would be communication skills, and there's 3 elements that we want you to touch base on. So active listening was actually mentioned in the group chat earlier on, and as you can see, that will help them, encourage them to continue the conversation and also help you develop a relationship with them by showing an interest in their thoughts and their opinions. But there's also techniques like non-verbal techniques, so your body posture, making sure you're making eye contact during the Zoom call and just nodding along, just to show the young person that you are actually listening to them. And the last one would be verbal techniques. So for example, saying stuff like, I completely understand where you're coming from, good point, you're so right to think about that, and then elaborate on your point. And some tips for you. So in regards to the questionings, we want you to think about grow. So whenever you're having a conversation with young people, we will provide you with a booklet, which I'll show you in the next few minutes, but the conversation might go in a completely different direction. And for you to be able to keep your professional boundaries, the grow technique will help you make sure that your conversation with young people is in line with professional boundaries and with the session's targets. So by keeping in mind the goal, you're encouraging and supporting your mentee to identify the goals and make sure that the track of the conversation is staying on track. And then you have reality, which is explore with your mentee whether it's something that they can actually achieve. It might be that a small example coming to my mind right now is maybe they aren't on target grades right now and are predicted E's and D's, and they might be applying to courses whose entry requirements are A's and A stars. You might need to have a conversation with them and ask them to explore other universities and other courses, for example, which are a bit more realistic. So which ties in with our next point, which is options. So making sure that you have a chance to actually explore options with young people. A lot of young people that I've come across and my students that I've come across are really, really set on wanting to do apprenticeships, but they've only seen one apprenticeship with one company and aren't really looking to apply for other apprenticeships or look at university as a backup or other courses. So make sure that you are having those kind of conversations with them as well, which ties us into our last point, which is Bill. So make sure you are planning ahead with the mentees, and our booklet will actually provide you with the structure to do that. There might be some scenarios that you might come across where you might feel like, I'm not entirely sure what to do here. And we've picked out 4 themes that we realized last year that our mentors came across. So we have lack of information. So if your mentee is not providing you with enough information, feel free to ask them open-ended questions to expand so that you have enough information so that you can give the correct advice. Moving on to our second scenario, which is personal questions. If your mentee is asking you questions about your personal life and you're not comfortable to answer them, you can stop that conversation there and say that I'm not actually comfortable answering that right now, and just relate it back to the relevance to the session. So the session goals have been set out for you and you can refer back to that. And you can also just address it and say that it's not a professional question to ask and you don't feel comfortable answering it. And if we can redirect the conversation to a different question and you can bring it back to educational work experience or just focusing on the mentee's goals. If they're asking you too many questions, you can refer them to some websites. So for example, if they are saying that I don't know about this, can you tell me about this? Can you tell me about this? You can actually say to them, actually, why don't we set this as a goal for you to do your homework? Maybe you should look at all the different courses that this university is offering rather than asking me, because you might not have that information and it's okay for you not to, but also you want to be mindful of the time. So if your sessions are 30 minutes long and you feel like the majority of the questions are going in research type questions, then you can set those boundaries. Which brings us to our last point, which is realistic goal setting, which I've touched base on the previous slide. But as you can see, you can ask your mentee to research the skills, experience, and requirements for a particular course so that they can set their goals accordingly, according to and tailoring with their university or course of choice. Mr. Khan touched a little based on managing your meetings. So as I mentioned, it should be based on Zoom, Google Meets, Microsoft Teams, or any professional platform. But so just some tips for you. So prepare for your meeting in advance. Start by discussing any progress made since the last meeting. Young people do need a reminder. So as mentioned before, you might have set them some homework to do or some research to do. Just recap on that and see if they've done what they've been asked to do. In the mentoring booklet, you'll see that at the end, you will be setting them targets at the end of each session. So by touching base on the targets, the next session will be a good reminder for the young people. Establish the focus of the current meeting. It will help you ensure that your meeting is in line with your targets. Work through the session agenda using the activities in your handbook. Agree on actions for next meeting. And the last one would be agree on a date and time for the next meeting. Which brings me to the end of our mentoring program training. So we have 4 themes identified in our mentoring booklet. Session 1 is on self-awareness. Session 2 is establishing goals. Session 3 is checking performance. And session 4 is possible next steps. And in the mentoring booklet, you will find these questions. But one thing we wanted to clarify with you is that this is just a base for you. You don't necessarily have to follow the questions in this booklet. You might have a good relationship with this young person straight away and you've connected really well, and you might take the flow of the conversation in your own way. But if you are struggling to come up with any questions or aren't sure what to talk about in the meetings, you can use our booklet as a tool to help you. So the first page in this booklet is just giving you a bit of background what mentoring is and what is expected of the mentor and the mentee and what kind of skills you should be bringing to each meeting. And as you go through the booklet, we have the key dates for you and the key dates for you and where and when the sessions should take place. And then as you can see, session 1 is the theme self-awareness, and we have some questions that you could take through. Talk through with your young person. So some examples are, what sort of person do you want to become? What could you do each day to ensure you made progress towards your goals? In what situations are you most likely to experience stress? And then at the bottom, you can see an action point for the next meeting is for the mentee to reflect on goals for the next 5 years. So in your next session, you would then ask them to reflect on that, and then you can go through session 2, which is establishing goals. Session 3 is performance, and you have the action point at the bottom once again. And session 4 is possible next steps. And as you can see, the final action point over here is for the mentee to send a final draft of the personal statement or the cover letter for review and feedback. And that's something that you can have a look at. And at the end of the booklet, you have a reflection log for each session with the date agreed and some notes and reflections you might make from the meeting. And at the back of the booklet, each program has their own cover sheet. So you'll have the safeguarding contact details at the back of each sheet. So if you are unsure on who you should contact, it will be at the back of your booklet. And that's it from me. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take any.
Ms. Shakur, thank you so much for that excellent whistle-stop tour on how to be an effective mentor. So guys, just while you're thinking of any questions you have as we come to the end of this session, remember next steps are that we're going to send out an email with this video and the transcript and your mentoring booklet that we showed you. Okay, so that will happen in the next couple of days. And then the next time you'll hear from us is in January, okay, mid-January. So don't think we've forgotten about you. What we'll do now that you've been trained is we will start to work with the young people to get their bios together. Then over Christmas, we'll do the matching. As you can imagine, 600 mentees and almost 200 mentors. That will take some time over the Christmas holiday. And then we will contact you in mid-January with your mentees' details. And then you'll have 2 weeks to arrange your first call. And then you'll have a call January, February, March, April. And then that will bring the mentoring program to a close. Any questions or concerns about anything we've talked about today? So we've got a question from Seema that says, what do we do if neither the mentor or the mentee can align easily on a session date based on the week provided? Can we branch out to weeks? Yes, exactly. Absolutely, you can. So if you've got reading week, if you've got exams that week, or you've got something on, you can do it the week before, the week after. It's totally flexible. So again, whatever works best for you. Lovely. Any other questions? You can either say them or do them in the chat. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, a great question, David. We'll send you the slides along with the video and the transcript and the mentoring pack. So you have all of that ready to go. Lovely, guys. I think that takes us